and welcome to Candid in Crimson by Be Business. In this mini series, we speak to women leaders who have made an indelible mark in business, technology, and lives. Our guest on this segment is a name which has fast risen in the CIO circles as she assumed the responsibility of Chief Information Officer and Head of IT for South Asia at Unilever. In a span of just 15 years, she has several accolades to her name, some of the more recent ones being on her projects on digital transformation being featured as a first business case study and the team winning the Cannes Gold Lion Award. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Shruti Kashyap. Shruti, thank you so much for taking the time out. Absolutely delighted to have you on Candid in Crimson.
It's an absolute pleasure, Akshita. Thank you so much for having me and really looking forward to this conversation.
Shruti, you have been with Unilever for now about 15 years and you've done a variety of roles across verticals, across functions, across geographies to becoming the CIO and Head of IT for South Asia. Did you always set out, to reach here? Did you always have your eyes set out to this role? And what have been some of those learnings along the way?
Sure. So I think, most of us don't necessarily chart a very clear career path. And in a lot of cases, opportunities just sort of come and things happen. In my case, however, the CIO role was always a dream job for me. And I consciously made sure that everything I was doing was in some way working towards being able to do this role at some point of time later. And just sort of two instances that I can point out. If you look at anybody's timeline of career, what you don't see is the story behind, and what you sometimes don't see is the struggles and the disappointments behind. And to me, it is those struggles and disappointments that ultimately have helped shape me into the leader that I am today. So there was a point of time where, we always have these career crossroads. You wonder about what you're going to do next and, what's the next envelope you want to push, etc. And at that point of time, digital marketing was something very nascent in the organization, in the outside world. I had obviously zero experience in it, but I still took the risk and went ahead and put my hand up and said that, look, I want to give it a shot. And I may or may not succeed. It was a risk. And, if I had failed, then it would have sort of been a little bit of a setback for my career. But it was a risk worth taking because, the learning in that process of even failing would have been great. So I did take that plunge and I went into that whole digital marketing space. I spent a lot of time with, agencies, with startups in the digital space, learning from what other markets in Unilever are doing in the digital space who are much more mature and so on. And I helped set up almost, it was almost like running a startup and helped set up that entire digital marketing strategy for the organization and pulling together a team and a whole framework behind it. And then, obviously that opened multiple opportunities for me. I then got an opportunity to move to London and lead one of our larger digital transformation programs for Unilever globally and so on. So to me, I think, the key takeaway for me was really around whether you know an area or not is never that important. Always be open to taking risks. And then something similar happened, just about 3 years back when I applied for this CIO role and I did not get it. And it was again another disappointment. And for me personally, I was coming back from my maternity leave at that point of time. And, when you're as a returning working mom, you're in that space of mind where you really want to prove more than anything to yourself that you can still, be a top-notch performer and you can still do things the way you always did and so on. And therefore, that ended up being a very low point for me, just not getting this role at that point of time. But again, it opened, some more windows. And I got to work on one of our largest mergers, the GSK merger, the largest in the FMCG industry. And when you work on something like that, it is truly, bringing two great organizations together. It's truly a challenge on, so many fronts from a leadership standpoint. And then to be able to land it at the time of a global pandemic was, again, an interesting experience. Again, looking back, at that point of time, while it seemed low, And at that point of time, things didn't seem to be going my way. But ultimately, it led me to only better and better things, and only added to my, entire leadership capabilities, is what I would say.
Thanks, Shruti. I think it really reminds me of what they say. Sometimes the bravest thing that you can do is show up, own, and really give it your all. Speaking of risks, actually, risks and opportunities. Your role as a CIO, I can only imagine, is getting more complex by the day. One reason being that there's just simply too many technology trends to watch out for. The possibilities are endless. So, from a consumer goods perspective, as a CIO, how do you filter, prioritize, and assess that, yes, this is the next big thing and this is the next big bet?
Sure. So I think you very rightly put it, Akshita. I think they're just, collision of two worlds in a way. Because if you see the whole consumer goods space, the way we sell to consumers, the way we engage with consumers is getting disrupted. And then on the other hand, like you said, there are new technology trends all the time. And, whether it's cloud or big data or analytics, everybody wants to sort of jump onto the bandwagon. For me, my role as a CIO is really about ensuring that we find the right business value creation, what technology is going to create the right business value, and really then go ahead with experimentation in that space, have some proof of concepts out, and then try to scale it up. It's very easy to get swept with trends. The easier thing to do is, build a fancy campaign on AR and, win some awards and get, a lot of claps and so on and so forth. But is that really long term and sustainable? And, is that really creating any value? To me, that's the real job of the CIO, to find those unlocks and being able to look at what's happening on the consumer goods side, and therefore what is the kinds of technology that would help us enable that and really deliver true business value.
Super. I think in the spirit of change, because that seems to be the predominant trend, even in our conversation, there's been another shift as well in the workspace. In terms of your leadership style at Unilever, what have you learned about leading teams with diversity, not just in terms of men and women, but the fact that we have a 4-generation workforce today? So what do you think are those ingredients which are an absolute must as you lead in these very fast evolving times?
Sure. So I think, like you rightly said, it's you end up having diverse teams. And, if I look back at my current team or even my past couple of roles, right from people who've been in the organization for 25, 30 years to absolute freshers just out of MBA, to, the mid-career, or to people who worked in other organizations and then joined us midway. It's been a sort of a healthy mix. And I think the first thing is just recognizing that kind of diversity is important. And as a team, you end up learning a lot from each other. And as a team, you end up delivering a lot better if you have diversity in the team. So that's to me, the first point, the recognition that the diversity is important. The normal trap that a lot of us as leaders get into is, we end up hiring a lot of people like ourselves, right? And, we look for the same qualities, oh, yes, she's driven, she's motivated, she's diligent, hardworking, and, we'll get similar sort of candidates on board. And one of the things, I learned, and, one of my mentors taught me was, he said to me, Shruti, your job as a leader is not to make the best people better. Your job as a leader is to make the average people their absolute best. And, that's what made me realize that he's so right, because if a person is anyways, a strong performer, he'll do well. But if a person is average and my coaching and my guidance can help them perform better, there is no bigger satisfaction as a leader, to be honest, right? And then, the point that you mentioned around just having people of different age profiles, right? So, like I said, there are people who have spent, decades in the organization and probably know much more than me. And it's very important that with these people, you go in with that attitude of respect that, look, you know much more than me, and I'm here to learn from you. And once you go in with that attitude, the other person will also open up much more. And they will not look at you as a boss, but much more as, a collaborator and a colleague who's here to share your knowledge and who's actually here to help you grow. And to me, that the approach that you take really makes the difference.
Sure, thanks, Shruti. I think there is so much truth when you say there's a lot of value in diversity and in having, a variety of folks as part of the team. That brings me to my last question. The role of CIO is evolving. I think a lot has been said and written about that. And, gone are the days where the CIOs were the custodian of IT and technology to now becoming the orchestrator of innovation in firms large and small. What would your advice be to those who are stepping into the workforce today and aspiring to be CIOs of tomorrow?
Sure. So I think my first piece of advice is really to have a healthy balance of width and depth. I think what a lot of us don't consciously acknowledge through our careers is we tend to get many diverse experiences, but if you don't have depth in at least one space, you can never be, a great CIO. You need to have depth in at least one space. And, for me, it was a conscious decision when I took up digital marketing that, yes, I will build depth in this space. And therefore, I spent like a good 5 years just doing various sorts of roles. So that healthy mix of, width and depth. And, it's not rocket science what a CIO, the qualities that a CIO needs to have. You need to be able to run global digital transformation programs. You need to have basic skills around information security, how you run networks, the plumbing and so on and so forth. You need to be able to run an ERP. You need to have very strong senior stakeholder partnering skills because you will be partnering the board of a fairly large organization and so on. And to me, it's very important that through your career, you make sure you're exposing yourself to experiences that are adding to this. So whether it is running a large global digital transformation program or an exposure in the mergers and acquisition space, any experience that you pick up needs to add essentially to that whole CIO skill set. And then the third thing, like you rightly put it, and I love the expression that you use, the orchestrator of innovation. CIO, as they say, it's no longer chief information officer. It is actually chief innovation officer and so on. If you look at the trends of how the industry is evolving, they say that it was earlier the oil companies which used to control world economy. Then we moved to banking sector becoming controllers of the world economy. Then we moved to a lot of these big consulting firms. And now it's the era of technology. So if you look at the big companies, they're all tech companies, right? Apple, Google, Facebook, and so on. And if you look at business models, they're changing so much. So, Uber is not a taxi company. They call themselves a technology platform. Tesla does not call themselves a car manufacturer. They say they're a car platform and so on. And really, the way technology has almost leapfrogged and shifted business models entirely, to me, is so critical, and that essentially needs to become the crux of your job as the CIO. So it cannot be just about keeping the business running. It needs to be about how you're able to bring in technology to pivot when needed. So when COVID hit, for instance, we had to pivot business models really fast. We had to make things run, literally overnight, release applications, release things, make changes in how we were, running our systems and so on. So to me, that truly becomes sort of the center. So your ability to be able to leverage a lot of what's going outside and how you're able to use technology to respond to it, that to me is quite critical aspect of becoming a CIO. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have put it better, Shruti. If there's anything last year has taught us is that there is no standard operating manual. It's essentially, as you put it, the ability to sort of respond to these requirements based the depth and the width that you have built along your professional way. Thank you, Shruti, for sharing your perspective, your personal learnings. I'm sure the audience has picked up a lot. I surely have. Thank you so much once again for joining Candid in Crimson. And we're really delighted to have you on our show.
Thanks, Akshita. And I realize that your background is partly Crimson and my background is partly Crimson. So at least we've done some justice to the name. Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. To all the viewers who've tuned in, hope you found this session very enriching and exciting. Stay tuned for some more episodes coming your way.